Hey everybody, Gabe Suarez here from Suarez Tactics. So I got a number of emails asking about third gen Smith and Wessons, and yes, I am wearing a pink shirt. Your mom gave me this shirt, and it wasn't my birthday. All right. Anyway, so this is my original third gen Smith 5906. Carried it on duty. If this guy could talk, man, they could make a TV show out of it. I'm going to go over some of the details that I had done. Now, this is an old school gun. It's a 1990s vintage. It's a little on the heavy side, but about the same weight as an all steel anything. Okay. Now, these were supplanted in law enforcement by the striker fired universe, right? Glocks, M&Ps, and now the military's darling, the SIG 320. So everybody started thinking, ooh, these are obsolete, these are no good, and all this kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, man, the last few years we've been training with double action pistols, and if you use them properly, you lose nothing to the striker fired pistols, and there are advantages to these, okay? So, now, these are not made by Smith & Wesson anymore. Smith & Wesson is one of those companies, that has their heads in their asses, just like SIG, and they discontinue really, really cool guns because, I don't know, whatever. Okay, I mean, we can make a long, long list of cool guns that Smith had, cool guns that SIG had, that, they discontinued them. I hope that CZ does not follow in those footsteps, although they've already discontinued a couple of really cool blasters last year. Anyway, so there are surplus third gen Smiths out there that you can have them for a song. I believe it was at Impact Guns, I saw some Smith 915s on sale not too long ago for a pretty nice tariff. They're plain wrap guns, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with those. Okay, the triggers on these can be tuned up really, really nice. Okay, chamber check and everything is done just like on the Berettas. But the double action on this one, I'll have this one out at the August double action pistol class. But the double action on this is really, really cool. The reset is, listen, there it is. It's done. Tactile, you can listen to it and everything else. Boom, and it's good to go. And the single action is amazing. So anyway, things that I did to this guy. All right, this is two-tone. It's two-tone because it's cool. I liked it. This was the fashion back in the 90s, and not everybody had them, but I wore out the original slide on this, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I went to Long Beach Uniform. I talked to a gentleman there that was probably the preeminent Smith & Wesson guy in SoCal, Steve Deladio, and he set me up with a black slide. He had those there, and I go, hey, how about giving me one of those instead? So it's cool. Do you need no, you don't. But you know what? The cool factor, dude. Come on. Okay. So I like the fixed sights on these rather than the adjustables. Although the adjustables are just fine. It makes for a more compact package. I don't think anybody's done it, but man, I'll bet you could pop a Holosun 507K on here, man. Boom, like that. You can deactivate the magazine safety that comes on these very, very easily. There's tutorials on YouTube and everything else. I would advocate getting rid of that if you're going to carry the weapon. I think that's a foolish thing. So anyway, I took a Kratex wheel, this being stainless steel, and I went over all the sharp edges. I mean, you got to handle this guy in order to get a sense of what I did, because I carried this day in and day out. I always believed in carrying the same weapon on and off duty back in those days. You can kind of take a look at what I did. I created some serrations in the bottom of the trigger guard, so I had a tactile index of where to put my support hand. I did this by hand in my garage. I undercut the trigger guard, and just polished it out and made it feel really good. All right, like that proverbial bar of well-used soap that Jeff Cooper used to talk about. This feels really, really good in the hand. If I were going to be carrying this these modern days, I'd get rid of this offside one. They made one. I think you can still find them. You got to really hunt for these parts, man, because they're just not as available as they once were. But just a single-sided decocker. I don't need one on this side here. The other thing I did is I got rid of the original slide stop, and I added one from a 3914 or a 3913. They're a lot narrower here, so they don't offend the support hand when you're shooting. So that's pretty much it. I went in here and I beveled the magazine well a little bit more, because those speed loads, man. Back in the day, you had to have those speed loads. They made a flat grip, and that's what I'm going to call it. Not a stock, it's a grip. And they made one that was arched, depending on the size of your hand. But anyway, this guy, and I what I did too is I got rid of all the edges on the trigger. Okay, so the trigger's nice and short and flat, as you can see. Okay, and this is a really fine pistol. Hell, I may carry this in class a couple times in the next couple of years, just to upset people. Anyway, this is really cool. Now I'll show you another one that I have. Okay, this one was set up for me by Josh and Paul from my former company for my 60th birthday. Now, Smith originally had this long extended trigger guard. I think they were trying to target the northeastern police departments that have those horrible winters and they wear gloves and so on, and so they made really long extended trigger guard here. They got rid of the point, and that's cool. I don't particularly care for that. Staying with a two-toned, kind of a cool looking image. But this is the Smith & Wesson adjustable sight. Now, they used to put these on 1911s. You can adjust it, but it's a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more, fragile, if you can call it that. They bobbed this, so it sits really well in the hand. Really, really nice trigger press. Really, really nice single action. Okay, so these are still out there. You can find them. So I would look probably for a 915. Those are still out there. You might still find 5906s, but the 915s seem to have this frame type situation that it seemed to be more dehorned, I guess would be a way to describe it. So those are good. You can also find what were those 4906s, 49 and 6906s. Those were basically the Glock 19 version of these. Short here, short here. Now they came with a bobbed hammer. I really believe that any pistol you carry has to have an exposed hammer, because there are times when you want to go double action. But you know what? The good news is that all the hammers from the 59 series will fit the 6906, the 3913, 3914, all that kind of stuff. Those are really, really good blasters. They kind of been ignored from the gun media because they're not as sexy as a striker fired stippled, battle worn finish, whatever, the deal is. But these are good to go. I wouldn't hesitate to carry any of these. But those are the modifications that I suggest that you use. Now, I was messing around here earlier getting ready for the August 10th class, and what I found out is this is a Glock holster. This is the 5906, and for the most part, it fits really, really well. The only issue is that the decocking lever interferes a little bit with the sweat guard. But if you have an extra Glock holster and you want to run one of these, all you need to do is get that Dremel tool out and take this edge off, and you'll be good to go. And the other thing is, going back on camera here. Okay, 507K, boom. I will bet that somebody can do that and throw a fixed Glock rear sight in the back, and you'd have the first optics capable third gen Smith. I'm not in that business anymore. It's not really my thing. If it's yours, take a look at it and see. You might make history. So anyway, that's it on the third gen Smiths. They're really good blasters. They got great magazines, the most reliable magazines some of the most reliable magazines I've ever seen. You can't go wrong with one of these. Again, it's old school cool, and it works really great if you're carrying also a wood stocked TAC 14. It's like boom right there. Throw on some Miami Vice music and you're all set. Okay, see you in class.